This is the time to stand up now. We can't carry on like this.
That's right, yeah, got an agenda.
Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again, barefaced lies. Too often, I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. I'll say barefaced lies. Again.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think of one point where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think of you, we never wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shooting cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Hey Sean, you got a party? Got that little party going on there. Keep to the left, you can't think right, so everything you do goes wrong, yeah. Incompetence just leads to disaster. Corruption brings it on even faster. What you say?
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think of one point where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think of you, we never wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Think of one point where it's all gonna end, yeah. Think of you, we never wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced lies.
Barefaced lies. Barefaced lies.
Time waits, you always told us you'd build us all a new Jerusalem, yeah. You talk the talk, but when you walk, you only leave a crooked line there. And you don't see the trouble that's brewing, if all you do is just what you're doing.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced lies.
Is this where you wanna be? Debt and childhood poverty. Won't somebody set us free from this corrupt kleptocracy? Oh yeah.
Barefaced lies.
That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy to disguise, you get shit cold, overgrown, postal phone, barefaced. That's right, yeah, we got an agenda. And it's your money we're gonna spend, yeah. Do you wonder where it's all gonna end, yeah. Do you think we ever wanna defend, yeah. Cause when the truth becomes so easy
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011 he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.
The Ministry for State Security, commonly known as the Stasi, was the state security service and secret police of East Germany between 1950 and 1990. It was one of the most repressive police organizations in the world, infiltrating almost every aspect of life in East Germany, using torture, intimidation, and a vast network of informants. It crushed dissent for 40 years. Why have I decided to start this evening's transmission? Sharing you what I hope you all already know about the Stasi. Well, Oldham has its own version. That's right. In the 21st century liberal Western democracy, the northern Milltown, Labour-controlled Milltown of Oldham, we have our own version of the Stasi. The Stasi was abbreviated as MFS. Oldham's version is abbreviated as CSS. They call it the Community Safety Service. I have received alarming information from colleagues deep within Oldham Council who've shared this information with me, and I have cross-referenced it with my own independent sources and can confirm that such activities would not be possible without sign-off at the highest level. This includes the chief executive. If no one quite knows who the chief executive currently is, because they've been yo-yoing around all over the place. There was a man called Dirty Harry Cafferel, who's now been seconded to try and whitewash whatever's gone wrong in Tameside. They internally promoted a woman called Shelley Kipling, who was involved neck deep involved in the actual communications team under Karl Marsden that celebrated covering up the news of the gang rape of children. There was someone called Emma Barton at some point who was acting up and then acting down. We've got a borough solicitor called Paul Entwistle who's left, took early retirement, and is replaced by a man who I know who is involved. He's the interim borough solicitor who was appointed without due process, some backdoor appointment. His name is Alexander Bogatov, famous for celebrating himself as though he was a model in his past life, who once competed with Mr. UK. No one can quite confirm whether it involved wearing white fronts and baby oil. And no, I'm not joking here. I'm not joking here at all. But the Community Safety Service now exists in Oldham. Signed off at the highest level, must involve the council leader, must involve the chief executive, and must involve the interim borough solicitor, Alexander Bogatov. Here is a quote for you. Community safety colleagues who monitor social media. So they have community safety colleagues from the community safety team monitor social media. And they monitor the social media of any individual that they consider to have close ties with myself. And do you know what they describe me as? A social media troll. That's right, the borough solicitor, the chief executive, the council leader have set up a surveillance team to monitor the social media accounts of the people of this town who dare speak out against the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of our children, and for having the audacity to campaign for a public inquiry. Welcome to Oldham. A very, very good evening. It is Sunday the 19th of January 2025. So much has happened in the last few days since I sat down and spoke with so many of you. Our numbers are growing and I'm struggling to keep up. I've tried to rearrange my desk a little bit so I can see the comments better. I'll try again. I might have to go for an eye test because I think my ability to read close isn't what it once was. A very, very warm welcome to all of you. The work I do is only possible with your support. It's as simple as that. I am 100% community funded. Those of you who are new will have seen and witnessed firsthand the relentless pace at which I operate and my ability to navigate this arena in a way few can. Those of you who have supported me from the outset will also confirm with everyone else that when the going gets difficult and they come after us, instead of cowering away or backing down, I step to the front and I face them head on. And that is why in the 6 years we've been doing this, we've managed to get as far as we have. So please, if you can, subscribe to Red Wall and the Rabble. It's 75 pence a week. I've put it out where everyone gets everything for free. So if you can, the cheapest tier is 75 pence a week. If you can't, it doesn't matter, you get it free anyway. If you want to support me with a bit more, then please do. If you can't commit to a monthly subscription, then the links are pinned at the top where you can buy me a coffee. It's a samosa. It's an ongoing joke. One day, when we've got the time, I'll go through a whole host of posts where you'll appreciate how we've fought these people, including using humour and mocking them. There's a PayPal link as well. And even if you can't do that, it's completely fine. You're welcome here. All I ask is that you subscribe to the channel. It's completely free. There's a subscription button. Just press it. Our numbers are pitifully low in terms of subscribers. We're at something like 8,000 subscribers. Until last week or the week before, we were at 2,000. My friends who are here with me will share with you how I begged people to subscribe so we could get to the 1,000 that I needed to monetize and access a whole host of features on YouTube. 100,000 of you watched my videos over the last 10 days. So please, at the very least, subscribe to the channel. If you follow me on X, please subscribe there. And so many of you have invites sat in your Facebook accounts. Even many of you who've been with me from the beginning, you've got invites sat there. to follow the Recusant 9 page. And the reason I say this has got absolutely nothing to do with me wanting to look at numbers and go, wow, isn't that great? When we are fighting the way we are, what they fear the most is our strength in numbers. And that's why I shared earlier today. That's over 1 million views, interactions on X over the last week. Actually, it's not over 1 million, it's just under 10 million. Just under 10 million. So please, at the very least, come and stand with us. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to or follow on X and follow on Facebook, because those are the platforms that for 6 years they have been trying to have me banned from. They almost succeeded on Facebook. I had red warning flags, shadow banned all over the place. They succeeded in taking multiple videos down on YouTube. Not that I'd said anything unlawful, illegal or anything, because I was campaigning. And even on X, they came after me relentlessly until Elon Musk took it over. So please. And if you want, please do super chat. And that's it, Gary. For those of you who don't know Gary, and you see him pop up here, Gary discovered me. Came and met me. I never knew him before, like most of you here. And he was my agent in the most recent general election. He has received nothing but abuse, unlawful abuse, by at least one councillor. And Greater Manchester Police continue to protect that man. And he even received letters from powerful lawyers funded by the Labour Party threatening him. He's married, he has children. He essentially risked his house, his family home, only because he stood by me and he was an agent for me in the general election, where we managed to keep our deposit. So we say 2,490 people, I think, voted for me. I'd hoped for more, but I refused to play the Pakistani sectarian games. And sadly, in my town, no matter how much I'd already done, not enough people knew of me. And of those that did, for whatever reason, they still decided not to support me. Those of you who've asked me, and I get asked repeatedly, will I stand again? I won't stand for a councillor. I've never stood for a councillor. I train people to be councillors, and I'll train any of you to be councillors. If you want to become councillors, that's no problem. But I won't stand to be a councillor. I'm more effective doing this than being stuck in a council chamber. Aren't I? My Labour Party friends are all watching. As to whether I'll stand to be MP again, it's a long way away. And I think we've got a lot of work to do before then. But what I will say to all of you is, as far as I'm concerned, I have a duty and a responsibility to the people of my town, as I've now found out, to people far wider than the people of my town. So yes, if the opportunity does come to stand, I think you need to stand in a party. If the opportunity does come, then I will stand. And we'll try again. Because what do we do when we fall over? We get pushed down. We dust ourselves off. And we get back on our feet and we try again. I, nor any of you, are the rich millionaires who can leave this country and go and live somewhere else. We have nowhere else to go. This is our home. And we have to. We must fight for it. Okay. Ready for some fun? Let's do it this way. Here is Liz Truss, former Prime Minister. Whatever anyone thinks of a former Prime Minister, and I think as more is coming out, it's becoming more apparent that she was ousted in a coup. And a media, a left-wing, an establishment media flexing its muscles. Liz Truss has suggested Keir Starmer is refusing a fully funded independent inquiry into grooming gangs because of Labour politicians' own roles. So here we now have the former Prime Minister. The former Prime Minister. Confirming that the Prime Minister is refusing a public inquiry because of the roles of Labour Party politicians. Now, she doesn't name them, but I've named them, and I'll continue to name them. And I don't think these are the only ones, by the way, but these are the ones I know and I can evidence. Jim McMahon, Debbie Abrahams, Angela Rayner, Andy Burnham. Excuse me. In a wide-ranging interview from Washington, D.C., the former Prime Minister told the Daily Express that Labour's attitude to the scandal has been appalling and Labour does not want to risk upsetting Muslim voters after top cabinet figures were nearly ousted at the election. So not only does she say that it's to protect politicians, Labour Party politicians, she's also confirming that it's about protecting Muslim votes. So here we have the former Prime Minister now confirming our position. And they called us conspiracy theorists. Miss Truss tore into the government for the handling of the child sexual grooming gang scandal, saying Labour politicians had been involved in the decades-long cover-up. Of course, Conservatives have also not done what they should have done because they've been in power for 14 years. But she goes further than I've gone. She said, "There's no doubt about that. Keir Starmer's role as Director of Public Prosecutions is going to be scrutinised." This is Keir Starmer, who was Director of Public Prosecutions during Savile. Keir Starmer, who was Director of Public Prosecutions also during Al-Fayed, wasn't he? And Keir Starmer, who was Director of Public Prosecutions during an extensive period to do with the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of little white girls. But they also don't want to upset Muslim voters, and that has been motivating a lot of this. You can see people like Jess Phillips, Wes Streeting, almost lost their seats in the last election. We've got 4 Islamist MPs that have now been elected. I was told not to use the word sectarian to the MPs that got elected, but now Liz Truss goes one further. She uses the word Islamist MPs. So now we've got the former Prime Minister on record making reference to those who got elected off the Gaza issue as Islamist MPs. I fought against one in Oldham. Their supporters issued fatwas against me. They sent messages to thousands of Muslims across the town saying I wasn't a Muslim, I was gay, I was this, I was that. They used every possible tactic to try and smear me, not on policy, Not on my history or my track record, but apparently I wasn't a Muslim. These jihadists are protected by Greater Manchester Police, Andy Burnham's Greater Manchester Police. And now we've got the former Prime Minister making reference to those who succeeded in getting elected on this agenda. And she describes them as Islamists. She accused Keir Starmer of prioritising electoral advantage over the lives of girls across our country. Excuse me one moment, I just need to put some eye drops in and blow my nose. I will be back. But read this. Talk amongst yourselves. I'll only be a few seconds. Whilst I was in the kitchen, it would be rude not to, wouldn't it? So there you have it. The former Prime Minister is confirming the cover-up in part is a consequence because of the involvement of Labour Party politicians. The cover-up in part is a consequence of Labour Party losing Muslim votes, risking losing Muslim votes. The cover-up in part is a consequence of the potential incrimination of Keir Starmer, the now Prime Minister, whilst he was in charge of the CPS. And the cover-up, she says, or insinuates, has wider societal challenges, where she makes reference to 4 Islamist MPs now representing us in the Houses of Parliament. What on earth is going on? She explained, even if Yvette Cooper did actually want to do something, which I very much doubt, she can't actually just go and sack the Chief Constable of South Yorkshire Police. She can't go and sack the head of immigration and put in somebody good. She can't do that. She argues that Britain is on course for a Trump-style revolution in 2029, which will oust Labour. She then talks about a whole host of other political issues, but I wanted to raise that first and foremost. And we do. We need to remember these girls were children as young as 10. And is it still happening? Do you think the tens of thousands of men who gang rape these children have now suddenly, those urges have gone? I don't believe so. I don't believe so. The mainstream media isn't picking it up because they've been warned off. At best, they fear legal repercussions, which I'll go through in a moment. And at worst, I think they're scared of what the consequences will be of the information I share going out into a wider public arena. Now, my frustrations have been and continue to be that our audience is small, and that the way in which I articulate what has taken place and what is taking place is indisputable. Which is why, if any of you follow me on X, you will have seen an attempt at a coordinated smear campaign regarding my involvement in a couple of schools that I was involved in setting up. I've repeatedly explained to people what happened. I've repeatedly explained to people I was repeatedly investigated. And I maintain that in this country, at the very least, you are innocent until proven guilty. And if I was in any way guilty, would I be here now? I doubt it for one moment with everything they've tried to shut me up. So we have an Oldham branch of the Stasi, the Community Safety Service, and we have a council meeting tomorrow. For those of you in Oldham or can get to Oldham, I urge you to go to that council meeting. It starts at 6. You probably want to be there about 5, half 5 to get in past the security. I honestly have been in prisons with less security. I will be there. And we will force this council to explain themselves. We have councillors inside the chamber on our side who will draw strength from our presence and stand up and challenge what is increasingly becoming a tyrannical regime. And not for one moment do not think that this is Oldham alone, because if they get away with it here, they will implement it everywhere else. Indeed, there is legislation currently being passed through Parliament that is designed to shut down dissent, debate, and punish public representatives, our representatives, from speaking out. And the man leading that legislation, well, if it shouldn't surprise you, it's Jim McMahon. You don't need to come over, Louise. You're so far away and you do more than enough. But the people who live here should. Okay. Before we continue with some of the legal stuff I want to get through with you, I want to bring you up to speed of where I believe people who I know are telling me we're up to in regards to the public inquiry. The Conservatives forced a vote by amending an existing bill. It was voted down. The Labour Party politicians, MPs, many of them who voted it down are trying to rewrite history and say, no, we didn't vote it down because of the CSE. We voted it down because it would have stopped a separate bill to do with safeguarding children going through. And that's the story they're telling back in the constituencies. It didn't wash, which is why, one of the reasons why Yvette Cooper, the Home Secretary who hired Amanda Chadderton, our former council leader, ousted for her role in CSE as a campaign manager. So I think that shows Yvette Cooper for who she is. Yvette Cooper was forced to issue a statement and tried to bamboozle the public, and it didn't wash. With these 5 local inquiries, £1 million each, it wouldn't even scratch the surface. and these inquiries not having any statutory powers. So that argument has been lost. So now, my understanding is the Conservatives are preparing to bring back another attempt, another vote, and that will happen over the next 2 weeks. So my understanding is that the Conservatives are going to bring back another vote and force a vote exclusively on this issue, in a similar style to how the Labour Party forced a vote on free school meals when they were in opposition. So no Labour MP will have room to squirm, room to wiggle, sorry. They will be made to squirm. They will either vote in support of a public inquiry or they will vote against it. So watch this space. This is far from over. In the meantime, and this is where I do get disappointed, I've urged everyone across the country who's following this issue to write to the Conservative or Independent or Reform councillors. There are powers within every council's constitution to call what is known as an extraordinary council meeting. I think in some councils you need 4 or 5 people to put the name forward. There's only one motion that goes forward on this extraordinary council meeting, and that motion should be for the council to support a public inquiry, to write to the government stating that, I don't know, Rotherham Council supports a public inquiry, a national inquiry into the cover-up of the gang rape of working class white girls, or the Pakistani rape gangs, however they want to word it. And then if 50 councils or 100 councils did this, the pressure would be immense. And I'm really sorry about this, but the Muslims, my Muslim friends, family, when they mobilised on Gaza, they knew how to mobilise. Council after council was squirming. Councillor after councillor issuing statements, votes being passed all across the country, and they knew they had no power over Gaza. And they were voting on it. But I'm sorry if it upsets you. Too many of you white people are passive when it comes to democracy. These politicians consistently do not do the right thing unless being encouraged to do the right thing. So please, if you're in other towns and cities, just contact your local independent councillor, contact your local Conservative councillor, contact your local Reform councillor. Thank you, Tracy. I didn't mean it, I didn't mean it as a slur in any way. If you're finding value, please press like. There's far more of you watching than press like. Maybe subscribe. If possible, consider buying me a coffee. The work I do is only possible with your support. At the very least, sign up to subscribe to the YouTube channel, and maybe sign up to Redwall and the Rabble. If you sign up for free, you'll again get my written content. I'm just looking at my emails, and many of you are signing up for free. So that's fine. I'm happy with that, as long as you're signing up. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. It's simple. It's as simple as that. People ask me, how hard was it? What we did wasn't hard. What was hard was the perseverance and keep going at it and keep going at it, even though we came up against brick wall after brick wall after brick wall. but the actions we actually took were very simple. We'd had enough and we decided we were going to hold our politicians accountable, and they wouldn't represent us, then we replaced them with people who would. This is a law firm called Brown Jacobson. They're a very, and my address is there, I don't care. The reason I don't care is that they published my address with a view of trying to incite to have me murdered. So from that point on, I have no qualms. You all know where I live, boys. I'm not hiding. Come and get me. Brown Jacobson are a national law firm, heavyweight law firm. And they sent me this. Dear Mr. MIAH, you can see dated 30th of August 2023. Proposed application for an injunction under the Protection from Harassment Act 1997. We are a law firm. So they're a multi-billion-pound law firm, by the way. We are a law firm instructed to act on behalf of Oldham Council, the council, in relation to the above proposed legal action. We write to put you on notice of the council's intention to pursue an application for an injunction against you under the Protection from Harassment Act 1997. This letter is written in accordance with the practice direction on pre-action conduct. Our reference details address for reply and service of any documents. Our details and reference are provided on the letterhead above. When responding to this letter or otherwise sending any documentation in relating to this matter, please use the address and email above and quote the reference number provided on all correspondence. Details of the matter. So their address is that and reference. You'll see there's no name. And they've set up a special email account called obc117691.0402 at Brown Jacobson. Details of the matter. The council intends to make an application for an injunction under the 1997 Act against you on the basis of your repeated acts causing alarm or distress and amounting to harassment contrary to the prohibition on such conduct in the 1997 Act. You have persistently displayed a course of conduct over an extended period of time and from at least as early as 2019, which has and continues to cause alarm or distress to a number of individuals at the council and on numerous occasions in relation to each. The nature of the conduct displayed is such that you know or ought to know that it results in the harassment of those persons by way of alarm or distress caused to those individuals. Now, this letter came after the council leader's case against me collapsed because she ran away from giving testimony. And this letter came to me after they'd been to the police, I think at least 10 times, trying to have me arrested. A summary of your behaviour is set out in the sections titled Details of Behaviour Amounting to a Breach of the 1997 Act below. This behaviour has led to the council proposing to seek an injunction to manage your behaviour. Should it be necessary for an application to be made to court, then detailed evidence will be provided as to your behaviour, including witness evidence from those individuals impacted by your behaviour. Should you wish to avoid an application being made to the court, then the council invites you to comply with the requirements set below under the heading Details of the Action that you are expected to take. Should you fail to do so, then an application will be made to court without further notice to you. So agree to this or else we are going to court. For over at least the last 4 years, you have engaged in a campaign of repetitive, frequent, oppressive and offensive correspondence. I've never written to them being oppressive or offensive. I think what they're making reference to is me doing this. You continually publish on your website and social media accounts, including but not limited to Facebook, YouTube, Telegram and Twitter, posts relating to the council, its employees and representatives. You have posted a significant number of posts, including 242 YouTube videos, a 7-part blog, and countless Twitter and Facebook posts. Your posts, under the label Recusant 9, discuss and are targeted at groups within Oldham, including, as defined on your website, as Labour Party politicians, council officers, and the Asian criminal cartels that really run the town. Your posts regularly name individual employees or representatives of the council and make threatening and accusatory personal and professional allegations about them. I don't threaten anyone. If you're coming to me new, this is me. I don't threaten anyone. There's no need for me to threaten anyone. Your posts regularly name individual employees or representatives of the council. Okay, done that. And make threatening and accusatory personal and professional allegations. Your posts and videos contain consistent, unfounded accusations of criminal conduct, including unfounded allegations of misfeasance in public office. Consistent and repeated unfounded accusations that individuals working for the council have been guilty of perverting the course of justice, in particular suggesting that such individuals have covered up child sex abuse. Unfounding statements accusing such individuals of being paedophiles. Of course, I've never accused anyone of being a paedophile who isn't a paedophile, of which one of the former councillors was a paedophile, convicted child sex offender. I think if someone is a convicted child sex offender, it's not unreasonable for me to describe them as a paedophile. Do you? Unfounded accusations that such individuals are engaged with members of criminal organisations. But if you want to hang off the arm of a convicted heroin dealing getaway driver or a cop killer, I wouldn't say that's unfounded, would you? Unfounded allegations of professional misconduct. Comments which are offensive regarding the appearance, weight, intelligence and capability of individuals. Now, I've got to hold my hands up here. I'll switch cameras for a moment. I've got to hold my hands up here. There have been times when I have made reference to the weight of councillors, particularly those very large councillors who are passing legislation encouraging the rest of us to ride bicycles in a town where the hill incline is at the average of that. And my comments are, well, they should lead by example. They should get on a bike and I'll watch them. An ambulance might need to follow some of them, but they should get on a bike. Now, what am I doing there? Mocking? At best. Demonstrating their hypocrisy? At worst. And if you come to the council meeting tomorrow, or some of you to come to the council meetings, and you've seen me by now, when I go and give interviews. You know, I'm in my corner of my living room and I've just got my comfy jumper on. I usually wear a hoodie here because my house is cold, flat is cold, but when I'm out, when I need to be, I'm dressed in a certain way. And I run organisations where many, many people work for me. And I have high standards. If you're in a public-facing job and you're out in a certain place like a council meeting, then you need to dress smartly. Not turn up with a jumper that doesn't fit you, and last night's tea stains on your top. Maybe put a brush for your hair. There's nothing wrong with that. And sorry, intelligence? If all you can do is read off a script, blah, 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 full, and you're even at the point where you're saying full stop, pause for breath, then I am going to question your intelligence and your capability. Racial epithets, in particular against individuals of Pakistani heritage. There's nothing I've ever said that could be considered to be a racial epithet, in particular against anyone, never mind of a Pakistani heritage. What I have said, and the government now confirm it, is when referencing the rape gangs, there's an overrepresentation of Pakistani heritage gangs, and we now need to look at why that is. You don't have to wear a shirt and tie tomorrow at all, George. Just come, smart casual. Unfounded allegations that individuals within the council have endorsed your murder. The leader of Oldham Council published love hearts in response to the offer of making sure that I never vote again. Me never voting again is only possible if you kill me. That's not an unfounded allegation. Details and photographs regarding individuals' personal residences. Never. They've done that to me. I would never do that to anyone. You have encouraged other individuals to engage with disruptive and intimidating behaviour against the council to further your campaign of harassment based on unfounded allegations and wrongdoing. What I have done, as you've seen witnessed today, is encourage people to hold councillors to account, question them, go to meetings, understand the process through which you hold them accountable, and if need be, I will train you. How do you write letters to them? How do you put questions in? How do you put freedom of information requests in? It's what I've done. I've trained people. Your behaviour may now be escalating. On the 28th of May 2023, so this is just after we got rid of Amanda Chadderton. So you have some context. That's the third council leader in a row. Arooj Shah had come back in, so this is when Arooj Shah was the leader again. You posted on Facebook, what are you doing reading my posts on Facebook? That you had taken a 2-week break and was feeling refreshed and ready for another 12 months. You set out a plan for a weekly format for the next 12 months, which clearly shows that you have no intention to cease your campaign of harassment. For those of you who were with me on that journey in May 2023 after we defeated Amanda Chadderton, the following May was the all-out election, where all 60 councillors were up for re-election. I took a couple of weeks holiday. Am I not allowed to take a couple of weeks break? And I said, okay, I'm ready. We've got 12 months ahead of us. I'm ready. This chance won't come again for another 5 years. An all-out election. Now, in fact, they don't come, do they? They come once every 10 years or so. Every time the Electoral Commission restructures the boundaries. I'm ready. Let's go for it. And I set out a plan. A campaign plan. Of where to target, who to target, how many votes we needed to get, who to support. Is that harassment? Is that harassment? That's campaigning. And as my friends will tell you, we went to that county and do you know what we did? In May 2024, we went to the count. In the morning, I was in court on trial. In the morning I was in court on trial. The case got thrown out. 3 years on bail. That evening we went to the count. And I took with me a man who's harassing these people. You know what I took with me? I took with me a big box of samosas. I left it with Denise to guard, and she did a terrible job, Denise. You did a terrible job. When I came back, they'd all been nibbled. They'd all been nibbled. And we did, well, I'll take it as a collective we, Gary. You smoked the cigar afterwards. I stood next to you. We left when the sun came up. And because of that is why the letter went off that forced everything that you're now seeing play out as a consequence of the CSE. Sham, scam, shame across this nation. You paid for that legal threat, my friend. You and every other taxpayer. Your campaign of harassment is oppressive and entirely unacceptable. Your continued actions have caused alarm and distress to numerous employees and representatives of the council. Your actions have impeded the council from effectively delivering services to the people of Oldham. So I have got in the way of the council being shit at its job. It's my fault that the council is crap. The exercise of the right of freedom of expression carries with it duties and responsibilities. As such, it may be subject to restrictions which are necessary in a democratic society to prevent disorder. Am I promoting disorder? I'm encouraging people to go and vote. And for the protection of the rights of others. Yes, Tony, your bin wasn't collected because it was my fault. In order to avoid the details of the action that you are expected to take. So do this, boyo, or else. In order to avoid an application being made to the court, we require that you agree to refrain from all of the following conduct. Using profane, foul or abusive language in relation to employees, officers or members. Referring to council employees, officers or members with racially motivated phrases, including but not limited to samosa nibbler. Apparently, the term samosa nibbler is a racially motivated phrase. I like to nibble on a samosa. But according to the council, lawyers, these multi-billion-pound lawyers, that me using the term samosa nibbler is racist. Suggesting I'm keeping a straight face here, Nick, is what I'm trying to do. Suggesting or implying without any proper basis that the council employees, officers or members are or may be paedophiles. Didn't do any of that. Asserting without any proper basis that council employees, officers or members are involved in covering up or being involved with child sexual exploitation, including but not limited to the grooming of sexual abuse or rape of children. Asserting without any proper basis that council employees, officers or members have any connection or association with an organised group of criminals, including but not limited to criminal gangs, cartels, mobsters, the mafia or other similar groups. Making derogatory statements concerning the appearance or weight of council employees, officers or members. posting on social media the address of or images of any residential property of any council employee, officer or member. Oh, I did. I did post on social media the address details of council officers. Oh, sorry, councillors. Because it's a public document on the council's own webpage under the Declaration of Interests. It's a public document published on the webpage. Whilst these restrictions do interfere with your free expression, such restrictions are necessary and proportionate in order to protect the rights of others, namely those who have been and may in future be victims of your conduct. Too right, victims of my conduct. It's at the ballot box. ADR proposals. In light of your aggressive and threatening behaviour, ADR is Alternative Dispute Resolution proposals. In light of your aggressive and threatening behaviour, we are of the view that alternative dispute resolution methods are highly unlikely to effectively resolve this matter. Next steps. You are now required to confirm that you will immediately cease the aggressive, threatening and unacceptable behaviour towards the council employees, officers and members as outlined in this letter. Should you fail to do so, then an application will be made to the court seeking an injunction requiring you to comply with the restrictions as set out above. If the application for an injunction is successful, then should you continue to fail to comply with the restrictions set out above, you may be prosecuted and face criminal sanctions. So if I don't do as they're telling me to do and back off, I may be prosecuted and face criminal sanctions. Now what the hell is a private law firm threatening me with criminal sanctions for? The police can try it if they want. You are invited to respond to this letter and set out whether you are agreeable to meeting the above proposed requirements no later than 4 p.m. on the 13th of September 2023. The council seeks an injunction against you only as a last resort due to your failure to cease your harassing behaviours, which is causing it and its employees and representatives distress and alarm. So now we are very clear. Yours faithfully. No one's signature, just a law firm. This is what happened to me in 2023 after I'd led the campaign that took out 3 council leaders, where the police had recently just arrested me and tried to put me in remand with a fast-track charging decision to stop me from campaigning in an election. And the difference is, my name is Raja MIAH. I'm not Debbie Barrett Cole. This is what I did. So they sent me this by email, Wednesday the 30th of August. Let me find the right one. Dear sirs, I acknowledge receipt of your email on the 30th of August 2023. Before I can proceed in any meaningful way on this matter, I request that you provide me with a named person who has conduct of this matter and provides me with their contact details so I can respond accordingly. I look forward to your response. I sent it. Thank you for confirming receipt. We can confirm Brown Jacobson LLP are the instructed firm in this matter. All correspondence should be sent to Brown Jacobson, including the reference provided in the pre-action letter, and to this inbox directly, which has been set up in correspondence on this matter and is regularly monitored. We do not agree that there is any need for a named individual for you to respond to the letter in a meaningful way. We note your indication that you intend to respond, and given the deadline for response in this pre-action letter, please can you confirm you are requesting an extension? So I wrote to the three bosses at Brown Jacobson. Dear sirs, I have been purportedly contacted by your firm from the email address CC'd into this email. Within the communication from this email account, there was attached a letter purportedly on your letterhead. Though the letter was signed in the company name, no contact details were provided for a named individual, which would be normal in a matter such as this. I replied to the email requesting the contact details of a named individual with whom I can correspond. To my surprise, I received a response refusing to provide one. The failure of your firm to provide the contact details of a named individual has raised serious concerns as to whether your firm has in fact been properly instructed by Oldham Council as claimed, as no signed instructions letter from Oldham Council was included, and I have received no previous correspondence from Oldham Council in regards to this matter. As I have declared my intention to stand as a parliamentary candidate in Oldham, I have received several threatening communications from political opponents attempting to hide behind anonymity. In the circumstances, before I provide a robust response to your purported communications referenced above, I require details of a named contact to whom I can respond, together with proof that Oldham Council has indeed instructed you in this matter by way of signed instruction letter. Should this information not be forthcoming within 7 days of this email, I shall treat your letter as a SLAP, that's a strategic lawsuit against public participation, and instruct solicitors to commence proceedings against your firm and Oldham Council for an injunction to prevent you from interfering with free and fair elections, and also Article 10 of the Human Rights Act. Separately, I will be contacting the SRA to raise a formal complaint that you are actively pursuing SLAP actions despite being fully aware that these are in violation of your code and conduct. I've also copied in this email to Mr. Paul Entwistle, the Borough Solicitor of Oldham Council. As I said, thank you. I am not an idiot. Thank you for your email below. We again confirm that we have been instructed by Oldham Council in this matter. We do not think that it would be appropriate to provide written instructions from the Council, and indeed it is not required where we have sent a pre-action letter. Please continue to use this email to correspond with us. You see, I'm not emailing them. I'm emailing all the time. I'm emailing the bosses and copying this in. Please continue to use this email to correspond with us. If you do wish to discuss this by telephone, we can discuss arrangements for this. They want to discuss by telephone. Why would I want to discuss anything by telephone? Dear sirs, I have yet again been contacted by an email account claiming to be representatives of your law firm. Once again, there is no named individual signing off this email. I have attached a screenshot of what I have received. If this is from your firm, please provide me with a name, email address and phone number of the person who is willing to speak to me on the phone as indicated in the email. Dear Mr. MIAH, we note your email below. Our client has confirmed we were instructed and we ask that you use this email address for contact going forward. We are of the view there is no need for you to be provided with the details requested. If you wish to speak to us by telephone, then please provide a telephone number and we shall make arrangements to contact you. However, we note we still await your substantive response to our pre-action correspondence. Dear sirs, I am disappointed that you continue to hide behind anonymity and refuse to provide a named contact with whom I can correspond. I will no more engage with an email from an anonymous sender any more than provide an unnamed individual with my phone number. You have contacted me. I think it's more than reasonable that you provide me with a named individual, the position and a phone number so that I can liaise with them. You will fully understand and appreciate that due to previous threats to my life and ongoing intimidation from individuals associated with your client, I am reluctant to release personal information to unknown individuals. In responding to your outrageous and clear attempt at a slap, in the absence of a named individual from yourselves, I will send my response to your pre-action letter directly to your 3 directors. I will also copy the lead legal representative of your client, Paul Entwistle, the Borough Solicitor, whose interim assistant, I'll get to that in a moment, is already in direct communication with me. Should any of them wish to respond, they can do so. My detailed response to your non-specific and vague allegations will be with them within the next 7 days. Should you wish to contact me, please do so via a named individual, including providing details of the position they hold. Just to be clear, I will no longer respond to any communication from yourselves where the author of such communication and the position within your organisation is not identified. I consider anonymous and threatening correspondence to be harassment in itself, and maybe your firm would do well to heed your own advice in the pre-action letter you have sent me. If you continue to harass me, I shall take action. I shall take whatever action necessary to protect my safety and well-being. Notwithstanding all of the above, it is abundantly clear that your action is a slap, clearly intended to interfere in my lawful political campaigning, and as such has been reported to the SRN. You can see I'm signing myself as a parliamentary candidate. Oh look, Mandy! We get a name! Mandy wants to write to me. Mandy Cooling. Further to your emails dated 19th of September 2023 and 22nd of September, addressed to Caroline Green, Andy Stevens and Richard Med. That's the guys in charge, the directors of the company, the main partners. I am the firm's Risk and Compliance Director. And my team has been looking into your emails. I confirm that we are instructed by Oldham Council to obtain a protection from harassment order to restrain you from harassing the council staff. I understand that our client informed you of this on the 14th of September. I'll get to that sequence of emails in a second. As you are not a client of our firm, nor could I afford to be a client of your firm, by the way. We are not required to provide you with the personal contact details of our employees. Oh, I wasn't asking for the personal contact details. I was asking for a named individual at the firm. However, we can confirm that the partner in our firm responsible for supervising this matter is Matthew Alderton. So this prick, Matthew Alderton, is the one who wants to interfere in lawful elections and prevent me from campaigning against the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children. I understand that we have outlined previously that all correspondence in connection with this matter should be addressed to this anonymous email. I'm not going to send it to some anonymous email. I appreciate that this address may be challenging to remember. And to make it simpler for us to stay in touch, details of a new email address are provided below. In view of the concerns set out in our letter, before action dated 21st of August 2023, namely your behaviour associated with our client's application for an injunction under the Protection from Harassment Act 1997, please direct all correspondence to the team handling this matter via the following channels. So I get a telephone number, I get a different email, and this new email is registered, is monitored regularly. So I also wrote to the Borough Solicitor. Dear Mr. Entwistle, do you get the impression that maybe This isn't a game that they should be trying to play me with. Dear Mr. Entwistle, and I copied in every councillor, all 60 of them. As Oldham Council is aware, in the United Kingdom, human rights are protected under the Human Rights Act 1998. This sets out the fundamental rights and freedoms that everyone in the UK is entitled to. For the purpose of this communication, I would like to draw your attention to Article 10, Freedom of Expression. Everyone has the right to freedom of expression. This right shall include freedom to hold opinions and to receive and impart information and ideas without interference by public authority, and regardless of frontiers. Protocol 1, Article 3, Right to free elections. The high contracting parties undertake to hold free elections at reasonable intervals by secret ballot under conditions which will ensure the free expression of the opinion of the people in the choice of the legislature. I was therefore surprised to have been contacted by a law firm called Brown Jacobson. They are claiming that they are acting on behalf of Oldham Council. The correspondence I have received from them is not signed, and despite my attempts to obtain a named contact, they have refused to provide me with one. As I am unsure of the authenticity of the communication I have received from them via email, I am contacting you to confirm that Oldham Council has committed vast sums of Oldham Council taxpayers' funds to attempt to place an injunction against me. I have attached a letter they have sent me and await confirmation from yourself that Oldham Council is attempting to censor the education of the townsfolk so that they can better hold Oldham Council to account for their decision-making, including questioning poor decision-making and inept leadership. Silence opposition to Arud Shah and the Labour Party control of Oldham Council, and stop my political campaigning to remove Labour Party politicians from power via the ballot box. Interfere in the next general election, where I have already declared my candidacy and an intention to remove Jim McMahon from power. Prevent a public inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of Oldham's children. They have it in black and white. August 2023. I have copied into the email every Oldham councillor just in case this is a hoax email. They need to be warned in case they are contacted by a con artist masquerading as a law firm threatening legal action because of my views on how someone should consume their samosas. If it is genuine and Oldham Council have instructed a law firm to attempt to interfere with my human rights, then please confirm this is the case and who at OMBC authorised this. I will then respond to Brown Jacobson accordingly. Likewise, I will inform residents of the town of Oldham Council's actions, its violations of human rights, and that OMBC is spending in the region of £250,000 in an attempt to legitimate criticism of Oldham Council. I forgot the word prevent. Protect Labour Party control of Oldham, interfere in the democratic process, and also try to shut down a lawful campaign that is seeking a public inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of the town's children. Oh, Roy, you don't know about the mango chutney, do you? The council leader stood up in the council chamber and shouted about mango chutney being racist. Do you know when you've got under their skin? You know when you've got under their skin? Look who it is. Legal Services replies, Dear Mr. MIAH, thank you for your email. I can confirm I have instructed Brown Jacobson solicitors and the letter you have received is a legitimate letter. Please, can any response be directed to Brown Jacobson solicitors? The letter you have received is a pre-action letter and is simply seeking to prohibit you from behaving in a manner that amounts to harassment. The council does not seek to curtail your human rights in any way. Bullshit. Regarding costs, so this matter, this is the threat. Regarding costs, Should this matter proceed to court, then the council will seek to recover all costs from yourself. I am not a wealthy man. I have a small apartment I live in with my daughter with. And for the last 5 years, I have risked not just my freedom, but my home to fight for every one of you. And whilst I'm mocking this and laughing here, there is something serious you can see. Kind regards, Alexander Bogatov. That's the same guy who's now involved in the Community Safety Service, the Stasi-like monitoring by the council of social media accounts of any of you. So they'll have listed every one of you who've said hello here. They're monitoring you right now. And this man is involved. At the time he was the interim assistant borough solicitor. That means interim means he's got the job without a proper interview. And now he's the interim borough solicitor. Clearly because he promised these people that he would take care of me. And I'm also not Tommy Robinson. I fight in my own way. At the ballot box. I train people to become candidates in councils. I mobilise the communities to hold politicians to account. And we take it to the ballot box every time. Dear Mr. Bogatov, indeed. I note confirmation that you have instructed Brown Jacobson to attempt to secure an injunction against me. Irrespective of your viewpoint, I am clear that Oldham Council's actions are in violation of Article 10 of the Human Rights Act and also Protocol 1, Article 3, Rights to Free Elections. As this is an extremely serious matter and is likely to escalate as a matter of public interest, can you please confirm if you have taken this action of your own volition without sign-off from the Borough Solicitor or the Chief Executive? I look forward to confirmation from you as to who else is involved in allocating vast sums of Oldham Council taxpayers' funds on what is a strategic lawsuit against public participation, a violation of the Human Rights Act and an attempt to interfere in free and fair elections. It is my position that Oldham Council are also attempting to censor a campaign seeking government intervention in taking over the running of Oldham, as in Liverpool, and prevent me from questioning council decisions making and campaigning against corruption, censorship and the cover-up of the gang rape of children. Specifically, I believe your actions are motivated by an attempt to 1. Shut down the campaign to secure a public inquiry into the failure of Oldham Council and its partners to protect children from the rape gangs. See, I use the word rape gangs. Long before any of you use the word rape gangs, I'm using the word rape gangs. In official correspondence where they want to take me to court and I will lose my house. Do I look like a man who's backing down? Rape gangs. Something for which your at the time council leader has already publicly apologised for and GMP since launched Operation Sherwood in response to. Protect Labour Party politicians and interfere in a campaign to remove from power Labour Party politicians that have been exposed for their links with convicted criminals. Interfere with lawful campaigning in the lead up to the 2024 local elections where the Labour Party are at risk of losing power. Obstruct free and fair elections and inhibit my campaign to remove Jim McMahon in the next general election where I am a declared candidate. If I have not heard from you by 5 p.m. on Tuesday the 19th of September clarifying who else is involved in approval of this action, I will have no alternative other than to start by reporting both yourself and the Borough Solicitor to the SRA. If required, I will also commence immediate legal action against Oldham Council to prevent it from interfering in the May 2024 local elections and the Autumn 24 general election. I look forward to sharing with the council taxpayers of my town how you are attempting to take out an injunction against me and attempting to prove harassment for actions such as describing unspecified individuals as samosa nibbler, objecting to the scruffily attired appearance of elected representatives at formal council meetings, questioning the competency of council officers, educating people how to decipher council documents, submit public questions and freedom of information requests, referencing as paedophiles the former Oldham councillor Rod Blythe and former Oldham council employee and ringleader of the Rochdale grooming gang Shabir Ahmed. Both have been convicted as child sex offenders and both, until I exposed them, had their convictions or connections with the Oldham council hidden. Being no doubt whatsoever of my position, the course of conduct which Oldham Council has now embarked is an attack on the very democratic foundations on which our nation is built upon. You will not succeed. I do not fear you. Despite your actions, you will not stop our lawful campaigning to remove Labour from power and force direct government intervention in Oldham. At the ballot box there will be a reckoning. Justice is coming. We the people of Oldham are taking our town back. Thank you for your email from Bogotov. I note that you have again stated that the pre-action letter you have received is a breach of by the Council of your human rights, specifically your Article 10 rights, freedom of expression, and your Protocol 1, Article 3 rights, right to free expression by free elections. I have already explained in my email to you on the 14th of September that the Council does not seek to curtail your human rights. To expand on this further and to fully respond to your concerns, Article 10, he's trying to tell me what Article 10 is. I've sat in the United Nations. Has he? You know, I've sat with bloody United Nations ambassadors. Has he? I doubt it. It is clearly not acceptable to make unfounded statements accusing individuals of paedophiles. I'm sorry, Shabir Ahmed is a paedophile. He worked for you for 18 years, he's a paedophile. Councillor Rod Blythe is a paedophile. He's a convicted child sex offender. He reckons it does not impede in my right to play. Here you go. I also note in the email you have said the following. Despite your actions, you will not stop our lawful campaign to remove Labour from power and force direct government intervention in Oldham. He's put it in bold. This pre-action letter is solely directed to yourself and is to protect officers and elected members from your targeted attacks of harassment. This has nothing to do with a political process, and your behaviour is not lawful campaigning. My behaviour is not lawful campaigning. How many of you here? 1,500 of you here. What am I doing? Educating you, encouraging you, supporting you. To support our campaign for what? A public inquiry. Now it's a national inquiry into the Pakistani rape gangs. Is that not lawful campaigning? Then what is lawful campaigning? As a senior officer in the legal team, I have delegated powers to issue legal proceedings or instruct external partners to issue proceedings on behalf of the council or to provide advice. I have liaised with colleagues in community safety. See? Community safety, that's the Community Safety Service. The Stasi. The Oldham Stasi is called the Community Safety Service. About the negative impact upon the health and well-being of officers and elected members. I don't care about the health and well-being of officers if they are blocking an inquiry into the cover-up of the systematic grooming and gang rape of thousands of children in my town. The last thing on my mind is the health and well-being of those involved in the cover-up. Specialist legal advice has been provided by Brown Jacobson that confirms your behaviour has fallen below acceptable standards. Should you wish to correct your behaviour, come and tell me that to my face. Boggart off. You'll see what sort of working class man I am. Come and say that to my face. Correct my behaviour. It's you and your lot that need to correct your behaviour. Covering up for the gang rape of children. As the letter states, there will not be any further legal proceedings and there will be no further costs incurred by the council. This letter does not seek to impact any political aspirations that you have. So I can't campaign on the issue that I care about. Well, then what am I going to campaign on? Dog dirt? For clarity, the council's fees thus far is in the matter, on this matter, around £3,500 to £4,000. Not millions of pounds, as you have suggested. Actually, I suggested £250,000. Because by the time it ended up in court, and should they have won, that would be the sort of legal fees I would have been looking to pay out for their court fees. Here is my response. Let me just find it. Give me a second. Dear Sirs, following receipt of your pre-action letter via email dated the 30th August, I would like to first of all challenge your assertion that I will not engage in ADR to resolve this matter. You have reached this conclusion of your own volition. Your client will confirm that prior to your communication with me at no previous point have they attempted to contact me to discuss this matter or raise any concerns that they had. I would also immediately raise that I consider your correspondence as an attempted slap. As you are aware, the SRA has published clear guidance on strategic lawsuits against public participation and considers that the key aim of a slap is to prevent publication on matters of public interest. The SRA has communicated with all of its members how the government has proposed a three-part test to identify a slap claim that would, under its proposed reforms, be subject to early dismissal as a result, that the case relates to the public interest issue. Cover up of gang rape of children. That it has some features of an abusive process. They've not involved in ADR. That it has insufficient evidence of merit to warrant further judicial correspondence. I consider that this pre-action letter meets all three of these tests and have contacted the SRA to raise a complaint against both yourselves and the solicitor at Oldham Council that has instructed you. Furthermore, I also consider that your client's threats to pursue an injunction is in breach of both Article 10 of the Human Rights Act, freedom of expression, and also Protocol 1, Article 3, right to free elections. Moving on to the contents of a pre-action communication. Unfortunately, due to the generalisation of the allegations, I am unable to properly understand your client's complaint and cannot yet respond meaningfully to your letter. Furthermore, it is not clear how each of the statements that you have outlined in your details of behaviour amounting to a breach of the 1997 Act do breach the Act. You have only made the assertion of harassment and have not evidenced a single instance where this has taken place. Additionally, on each of your specific allegations of harassment, you did not provide links or copies of the statements being complained about, or how you believe that it constitutes harassment. To ensure that we are working from the same, please, 1. Provide copies of the correspondence that I have sent to Oldham Council that demonstrates that over at least the last 4 years I have engaged in a campaign of repetitive, frequent, oppressive and offensive correspondence with the Council. 2. Please provide the links to the specific content published on my website and social media accounts, including but not limited to Facebook, YouTube, Telegram and Twitter, where posts relating to the Council, its employees and representatives constitute harassment. For each instance, please detail who specifically I am harassing, how and why you believe this amounts to a breach of the 1997 Act. 3. I agree that I have posted a significant number of posts, including 242 YouTube videos, a 7-part blog and countless Twitter and Facebook posts. This is not of dispute. Please specify where exactly within this content you consider to be harassment, what exactly the harassment is, why you consider it as harassment, and who it is specifically directed at. You claim that my posts under the label Recusant 9 discuss Labour Party politicians, council officers and the Asian criminal cartels that really run the town. Can you please confirm where and how you consider this to be harassment and to whom you consider this harassment is directed at? You claim that my posts regularly name individuals, employees or representatives of the council where I make threatening and accusatory personal and professional allegations against them. Please provide me with links to these posts where you believe I have threatened or made accusatory personal and professional allegations regarding council staff and or its representatives. You claim my posts and videos contain consistent unfounded accusations of criminal conduct, including unfounded allegations of misfeasance in public office, consistent and repeated unfounded accusations that individuals working for the council have been guilty of perverting the course of justice, in particular suggesting that such individuals have covered up child sex abuse, unfounded statements accusing such individuals of being paedophiles, unfounded accusations that such individuals are engaged with members of criminal organisations, unfounded allegations of professional misconduct, comments which are offensive regarding the appearance, weight, intelligence and capability of individuals, racial epithets, in particular against individuals of Pakistani heritage, unfounded allegations that individuals within the council have endorsed your murder, details and photographs regarding individual personal residences. For each of these allegations, please provide me with evidence of where I have done what you claim, who I have done this to, and how you consider this to be harassment. Number 7. You claim I have encouraged other individuals to engage with disruptive and intimidating behaviours against the council to further my campaign of harassment based on unfounded allegations and wrongdoing. Please provide evidence where you believe I have done this, what the unfounded allegations of wrongdoing are, who the other individuals are, what they have done, and evidence how you believe that I am responsible for the actions of others. You state that my behaviour may now be escalating following how on the 28th of May 2023, after I posted on Facebook that I had taken a 2-week break and was feeling refreshed and ready for another 12 months. It is right that I did send out a plan for a weekly format for the next 12 months, which clearly detailed how I would campaign in the run-up to the May 2024 elections and the subsequent general election. Please elaborate how you consider campaigning against the Labour Party in the lead-up to local and national elections, and also campaigning for a public inquiry into the gang rape of children to be harassment against individuals within Oldham Council. You claim that my campaign of harassment is oppressive and entirely unacceptable, yet you have provided not one tangible example of this. You claim that my continued actions have caused alarm and distress to numerous employees and representatives of the council, yet you have not named one individual. How I have caused them alarm and distress, or how this constitutes harassment. You claim that my actions have impeded the council from effectively delivering services to the people of Oldham, yet you have not demonstrated one example where this has taken place, how I am responsible for the council failing to fulfil its duties, or how this constitutes harassment. Please provide evidence towards these outrageous allegations that you had made towards me. I agree that the exercise of the rights of freedom of expression carries with its duties and responsibilities. As such, it may be subject to restrictions which are necessary in a democratic society to prevent disorder and for the protection of the rights of others. It is my position that my campaigning is lawful, and in a free society I am legally entitled to campaign to remove Labour Party politicians from power via the ballot box. Likewise, I am entitled to campaign for a public inquiry into Oldham Council's failure to protect children from the rape gangs. You have provided no evidence how I have in any way promoted disorder or specified where, how, and whose rights I have violated. You finally asked, I'll leave out the paragraph, you finally asked me to agree to a number of obligations without evidence where I have engaged in any such conduct in regard to each of your assertions, or how this constitutes harassment. There are a number of assertions that you make that are completely fabricated, and others, such as reference to samosa nibbler and my questioning of the intelligence of unnamed individuals that are preposterous and will be ridiculed should this matter progress. Therefore, in the first instance, I request that we start with the basics. Specifically for each of your allegations, what exactly have I said, posted? How does this constitute harassment? Who is it that I have harassed? I look forward to you providing the clarity that is required as per the pre-action protocols. Once I have received this information, I'll review and respond, and should you provide the evidence for there to be any requirement, I will make myself available for ADR. Well, guess what happened next? That's right. I never heard from them again. I never heard from any of those scumbags again. Because in life, we have to stand up to bullies. We have to stand up to bullies. Or am I wrong? I'm just reading some questions. No, we behave as the people that we are. We're decent, honourable citizens of the town. We are not like them or the Pakistani gangsters. We behave impeccably. Thank you, mate. So that's the council seen off. All this time, the police are trying to put me in prison. And the council are working with them. I'll go through all of this. Force this from the police, and there's more to come, because they're hiding stuff. Using a subject access request. We're able to provide me with information of all the times where I was a suspect or I'd reported crimes against me. For each crime I reported against me, not once did I take any action. So those of you wondering, when I talk about Islamists, police complaint, blah, 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 I've already reported a number of individuals to GMP. They include Raja MIAH, Junaid, not sure of the surname, Mohammed Razak, a number of Islamic clerics. I've been the target of an online attack by this group where they are openly attempting to incite violence against me, including by using religious teachings. Knowing they are protected by GMP, these individuals are relentless in their online abuse. I became aware this morning that Mohammed Razak, who's linked to the Oldham group, the Pakistani sectarians, had posted online that I was a nonce. I consider this to be mean. I am a child abuser. This individual has previously openly encouraged violence against me. Mohammed Razak thinks of himself as some sort of Quranic scholar. They refused to arrest him. You can see the 20th of the 9th, 2014 and the 30th of the 8th, 2014, 2 crimes were reported where I was a suspect. It is my understanding that those were 2 malicious allegations that I had been involved in electoral fraud. And the council has now confirmed that the police have confirmed there's no further action, but I'm not satisfied. I want them to put that on letter-headed paper. And then I want them to arrest 2 individuals who made those allegations. One is Councillor Mark Hintz, and the other one was the Chief Executive of Oldham Council at the time, Harry Caffrell. This is what I'm fighting. Look, page after page after page. Arrest after arrest after arrest. Coordinated by some of the most powerful people in this country. And if that wasn't enough, this is on top of the multiple arrests, dawn raids on my house, newspaper headlines. On top of that, you like this. Brabner's wrote to me, and they wrote to Gary as well, you can see. We are instructed by Mr. Jim McMahon and the Labour Party are our clients. So the Labour Party now are threatening to take me to court. It's in the lead up to the election. False statements concerning Mr. Jim McMahon. They want to take me to court. The Labour Party has spent thousands on this. Since at least the 3rd of June 2014, you have published an election campaign leaflet which refers to Mr. McMahon. You have distributed the publication in hard copy to approximately 45,000 households. Further, you have published extracts from the election leaflet on social media. The publication includes the following statements. First, they claimed barefaced lies and that we were racist and far-right activists. Then they claimed that being gang raped did not destroy lives. Now that the truth is out after the council was forced to admit that children in Oldham were gang raped and trafficked, instead of supporting a public inquiry, Jim McMahon and his team of Labour Party councillors are still refusing to tell us exactly how many of Oldham's children were abused this way. Why? What are they hiding? Who are they protecting? The evidence is overwhelming. McMahon was leader of Oldham Council during the period in which his council covered up the gang rape of white girls. Guess why McMahon helped keep the grooming gangs hidden? Guess why McMahon never warned parents that their children were at risk? Guess why when Andy Burnham's assurance review provided no assurance but instead confirmed the worst and made national headlines, rather than facing the town he represents and explaining his failures, McMahon hid in Parliament from where he abused parents who were concerned of the safety of their children. Our crime? Daring to object to the rape of children. Now that the so-called assurance review has been exposed and as an attempt to cover up this cover-up, guess why? The town's Labour Party politicians have all reputedly refused to support a public inquiry. I think we handed out more than 45,000 leaflets. So they give me a copy of the election leaflet as well. Our clients consider that your false allegations regarding child sexual exploitation are seriously offensive and cannot go uncorrected. The allegations represent a cynical and deliberate attempt by you to spread fake news. The cover-up of the gang rape of children is apparently fake news. Your false allegations concerning sexual child exploitation have caused the greatest distress and personal and professional harm, and are accordingly the focus of this letter. Our client's rights in relation to the other allegations mentioned in this paragraph are strictly reserved. There is no good factual basis whatsoever for the statement. Fake news. Regarding the statement, it is wrong to state that Mr. McMahon is or has ever been involved in covering up sexual abuse of children and or protecting those responsible for committing such abuse. These are gravely serious allegations to make against anyone, politician or otherwise. You state that the evidence of such wrongdoing is overwhelming. But in fact, there is no good evidence for the same whatsoever. There is no good evidence apparently, of the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children whilst McMahon was leader of the council. You refer to the independent assurance review into historic child sexual exploitation in Oldham, commissioned by the Mayor of Greater Manchester. The review found there was no evidence of a political cover-up, either generally or by Mr. McMahon personally. This obviously undermines your allegation. Burnham has since come out and confirmed that his review was limited, and we've exposed it for the sham it is. We would add for completeness that there has never been any findings by any official body of wrongdoing by Mr. McMahon in relation to any of the issues raised by you. In fact, Mr. McMahon has consistently been acknowledged, doesn't say by who, for the political leadership he has shown on the issue of child sex exploitation. Equally, there is ample evidence that Mr. McMahon has never shied away from acknowledging any organisational or professional failures concerning child sex exploitation, whether they were by the police or the local authority, and he continues to stand firmly in support of victims as a Member of Parliament. You state that Mr. McMahon hid in Parliament and abused parents. I'm a parent? Who are concerned for the safety of their children. You state that Mr. McMahon targeted people who dared to object to the rape of children. He did. Again, this is simply false. There is no good evidential basis. It goes on. And then they try and use the Oldham CSE report that's now been exposed as a sham to defend their position. And they use, to defend McMahon and his caring for CSE, they make reference to a statement he's made on his blog. He made a statement on his blog, his online blog in 2012 or 2013. Sorry, 2014. His online blog in 2014. That is what the leader of the council did, and that is supposed to be evidence of him fighting against CSE. In 2022, he secured a parliamentary debate, he did, to call us racist. It goes on and goes on. It's an offence to publish a false statement. Our clients are concerned that a criminal offence may have been committed. Why do they keep going to these private law firms now? Is it because 10 pages of police files have failed to scare me off? They're now going to private law firms? And now they're quoting what the police can do to me. My allegations regarding child sex exploitation are plainly caught by the Act. They're also concerned that I've committed a criminal offence. And I've defamed him. They've done all my thinking for me. We do not consider that you have any viable defence to the potential defamation claim against you. And what I need to do take down the publication from social media and any other online platform on which it is accessible. You will cease distributing the publication in hard copy immediately. You will not republish the publication or any statements contained materially similarly anywhere. You will provide Mr. McMahon with a letter of apology and correction in response of the publication. The wording of such letter is to be agreed with us on behalf of our clients McMahon and the Labour Party, and the wording of the letter must also be posted by you on your social media accounts and be pinned to your account for 28 days. You will pay compensation to Mr. McMahon. the amount of such compensation to be agreed with us. You will pay our clients legal costs. They wanted a response by the 1st of July 2024. Yeah. I responded to them, all right. Nothing came back. Nothing came back. This is called lawfare. And not only have I not just responded to him, I've escalated it. And now, even in Parliament, the leader of the opposition was not naming him or others, but clearly stating that a public inquiry into the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of children in our town and in this country is being denied to us because it will incriminate senior Labour Party politicians. Yeah. I'm sharing this because you need to see what I've been going through. You need to see and understand. They tried to kill me and failed. They tried to incite people to come and kill me and used quotes out of the Quran, interpretations of the Quran to try and incite jihad against me. Protected by the police. They failed. They've sent gangsters out after me. They failed. The police have repeatedly arrested me. They failed. They've used the media to smear me and try and portray me as some sort of thief and child abuser and harasser of women. On each one, they failed. Then they've sent lawyers after me. And now the Labour Party itself has sent lawyers after me. Why? The Labour Party itself has sent lawyers after me. Because I will not shut up about the cover-up of the grooming and gang rape of little children. And now the world knows. So I played their games. I note with no real surprise that your letter is written anonymously, blah blah blah. You have failed to disclose the funding arrangement. There's certain things, protocols they've got to follow. This is another multi-billion-pound law firm. It's me. Yes. If you feel that I've committed any criminal act, then it is your duty to report it to the appropriate authority. Please feel free to do so. Your attempt to blackmail me by saying that you will not do so if I comply with paragraphs 59 to 67 of your letter is breathtaking and will be brought to the attention of the appropriate authorities. Here is a law firm attempting to blackmail me to shut up over the gang rape of children. I have no duty to respond to you or your clients in relation to any criminal allegations being made against me, such as those you are complaining of under the heading. However, I will of course cooperate fully with the appropriate authorities to clear my name of these allegations, as I have done on each and every previous occasion when your clients have incited others to make false, vindictive and malicious complaints against me, none of which have been successfully prosecuted in court. As your clients appear to have asked the police to investigate the matters complained of under this heading, as at paragraph 44 of your letter, I will of course cooperate fully with them, as I have done on all previous occasions, when your clients have unsuccessfully incited others to have me prosecuted under this Act. I will not address any of the complaints complained of at paragraph 39 to 43 of your letter for the reasons stated above in paragraph 6. They're not part of your complaint. Defamation. It appears from your letter that you're not claiming that one of your clients, the Labour Party, is defamed by me. Please confirm. The meaning attributed to the statements I have made at paragraph 46 of your letter are disingenuous and laughable, to the point that they do not merit any reply whatsoever. Any statements I have made are justifiable statements of opinion or fact, as the case may be. I will not litigate this matter by correspondence and invite your client to issue proceedings as they see fit, in which I shall provide a robust defence. I look forward to cross-examining your client, Mr. Jim McMahon, and senior members of the Labour Party in court to conclusively prove that the gang rape of children in Oldham was covered up both by him and the Labour Party. I suspect the resulting publicity from such a case will be rather more damaging for the reputation of Mr. McMahon and the Labour Party than anything I have published. I challenged the Labour Party to the High Court. I said, I will see you in the High Court. Nothing back. Nothing back. If any of you are wondering why and how we have got to where we have now in this country, and who's risked everything to get it to where we are, then you now know. Then you now know. I want to show you McMahon's statement he's released on Facebook. I've got to find it. Give me a second. He published it a day ago. He's turned off the comments. There were 17 comments on it. He's turned them off. The comments, no one can comment on it anymore. So let's look at the comments first. You can see 17 comments, and there's only 4 or 5. Oh, he's approving the comments. Jane Hindle and Mohammed Samraz are clearly, supporters of his. As is Maureen Nisbet. Well done to all for looking after all children. Thank you. Anthony Twist statement, they've still not got the irony. I think, yeah, okay, and the earth's flat. You can't comment on it. The work on securing an independent inquiry into child sex exploitation in Oldham has been in development, and yesterday it took a significant step forward. He's talking absolute bullshit. You should read it yourself. I want you to read it yourself. He then goes on and makes a whole host of allegations about me that are completely unfounded. False, proven to be false again and again and again, but he keeps making them. I'm not the politician. I'm not the MP. I'm a campaigner. He claims, over the past 2 weeks, I have met with some of the survivors and campaigners. So what were you doing for the last 6 years? We've been campaigning. Have any of you ever heard McMahon speak out? Have any of you ever heard McMahon speak out in support of a public inquiry? He voted against one, didn't he? 6 times, 7 times? We went to the council? No. He blames the Conservatives. When you're in a position of power, you have responsibility to act, not to continue blame others. continuing to blame others is the worst form, is the weakest form of leadership that there is. All you had to do was support a vote into a public inquiry. He tries to claim that the assurance review was thorough within its terms of reference. We've demonstrated it excluded schools. How can an assurance review be thorough when it excludes schools? How can an assurance review be thorough when it refuses to take the testimony, record the testimony of witnesses? How can an assurance review be thorough when it didn't speak to a single survivor until after the direct intervention of Maggie Oliver, and it only spoke with one? How can an assurance review be thorough when it does not state how many children were groomed and gang raped? He then blames the Liberal Democrats. And then he describes me false and damaging accusations of cover-up and conspiracy, and the refusal of its key protagonist, Raja MIAH, to provide any comprehensive evidence. And apparently there's something to do with at least one case of serious sexual abuse being confirmed by a safeguarding partnership review to do with me. Complete balderdash. A complete fabrication. He's an outright liar. Now, this is the thing. You've seen the letter. I challenged the Labour Party. I'll see you in the High Court. It's in black and white. I challenged the lawyers. I would represent myself. I have no money for lawyers. I'll see you in the High Court. And now what? Now what? It's been published in every newspaper. The Pakistani rape gangs are real. Industrial scale systematic abuse of working class white girls across the country. Millions of us, because we are now millions, want a public inquiry. A national public inquiry. And this runt, because that's what he is trying to rewrite history as though he's been supportive of the process. Has any of you seen him say anything supportive of the process? On his Facebook page, he links to his blog. He wrote a blog in 2014 online. No one read blogs in 2014. A council leader has a duty to stand up in the council chamber and warn everyone that the children are at risk of being gang raped from shisha bars, and that they know. You've seen the evidence. He became council leader in 2011. You've seen the evidence. Children were being groomed and gang raped in 2011, in 2012 and in 2013. And that's what they've admitted to. They were being taken away from children's homes. I've shared evidence, testimonies of victims who were dragged into cars at school gates. So there is where we'll leave it for now. This is how we've got to where we've got to. The council has mobilised its lawyers and failed. The Labour Party has mobilised its lawyers and it's failed. The police and the CPS were weaponized and they failed. The gangsters have attempted to silence me and they failed, and the Islamists have attempted to kill me and they failed. And the truth is now out. Every one of you now knows. I will be at the council meeting tomorrow. I urge as many of you who are able to join me. And let's see what they have to say. If you've taken value of the 1600 video we've watched at some point this evening, if you've taken value, please like, please subscribe. It's free to subscribe to all of my work. All of my work is now shared for free. I'm entirely dependent on the generosity of people, either through taking out a paid subscription on Redwall and Rabble, even though they'll get the work for free, or buying me the occasional coffee, or supporting me through PayPal. I will never work again in the field in which I have been trained in and specialised in because of what I have done. My name is Raja MIAH. A very good evening.
Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them. On the 20th of November 2003, James Ignatius O'Rourke McMahon was elected councillor for the Failsworth East Ward of Oldham. Deeply ambitious, he ruthlessly rose to power, and by 2011, he was already leader of the council. In 2015, exploiting a Labour Party loophole, he became MP for Oldham West and Royton. If only the people of the town knew then what they now know. Do not fear them. Do not fear any of them.